let me tell you something very honest and very practical. One of the most powerful habits you can develop in life is learning to keep your long-term plans private. We often feel excited when we dream of something big: a new career, a business idea, a personal transformation, a vision of the life we want to create. That excitement is beautiful, but the mistake we make is that we rush to announce it. We tell friends, relatives, colleagues, even people who have no role in our journey, and then we feel good for a moment, because talking about plans gives us a false sense of achievement. It feels like progress, even though nothing has actually happened yet. But here is the truth. When you talk too much about your plans, you dilute your energy. The mind gets confused between speaking and doing. Your brain releases satisfaction simply by sharing the idea, and subconsciously, your urgency to work decreases. That is why many dreams remain only conversations. There is another reality we must understand. Not everyone who listens to your plans wants to see you succeed. Some people may genuinely care, but many people listen through the lens of their own limitations. They will say things like, "It's very risky," or "People like us don't do these things," or "Be realistic." They may not intend harm, but their fear becomes your doubt. Slowly, that pure excitement you had turns into hesitation. Silence protects your vision. When a seed is planted, we don't dig it up every day to check whether it is growing. We cover it with soil, we water it, and we wait. In the same way, your long-term plans need darkness, patience, and consistency. Too much exposure too early can destroy what is still fragile. I have seen this again and again in life. People who achieve something meaningful are usually the ones who spoke the least about it. They were quietly working while others were loudly explaining, and when the result finally appeared, it spoke for itself. No justification was required. No explanation was needed. Another important thing is this: when you tell people your plans, you invite opinions, and opinions are heavy. Everyone wants to become a consultant in your life. They will advise you on what to do, how to do it, and why you shouldn't do it. Slowly, your own inner voice gets buried under the noise of others. You stop trusting your intuition and start seeking validation. Your dream does not need approval. Your plan does not need permission. What it needs is discipline, focus, and time. When you keep your plans private, you build a strong internal commitment. You stop performing for others and start working for yourself. Your motivation becomes internal, not dependent on praise or encouragement. Even on days when no one claps for you, you still show up because the promise is between you and your future. There is also a subtle spiritual aspect to this. When you speak less, you observe more. You become more aware of your actions, your habits, and your progress. Silence sharpens awareness. It creates space for clarity, and clarity leads to better decisions. Many people fear silence because they think it means hiding. But silence is not secrecy out of fear, it is privacy out of wisdom. You are not obligated to update the world about every step you take. Your journey is sacred. Protect it. Talk to one or two people only. Those who genuinely support you, those who wish you well, those who add strength instead of doubt. Everyone else can be informed later through results. And remember this: people respect outcomes, not intentions. The world listens when something is achieved, not when it is announced. So work quietly, Let your discipline make the noise. Let your consistency become your announcement. And one day, when your long-term plan turns into reality, your silence will make your success even louder. That is the power of keeping your plans private. Let me share something deeply human, something we all experience, but rarely talk about honestly. Your personal struggles are best kept private, not because you are weak, not because you are pretending to be strong, but because not everyone who hears your pain knows how to hold it with care. When life becomes heavy, our first instinct is to speak. We want to be heard, understood, and comforted. And that desire is natural. We are emotional beings. But here is the quiet truth we learn with time. Sharing your struggles with the wrong people can hurt you more than staying silent. Not everyone listens with empathy. Some listen out of curiosity. Some listen to compare. Some listen to feel better about their own lives. And some listen only to retell your story when you are not present. When you open your wounds in front of such people, you give them power over your emotions. What was already painful becomes heavier. There is also a difference between seeking support and seeking sympathy. Support strengthens you. Sympathy often makes you feel smaller. When you repeatedly talk about your struggles to many people, you unknowingly train your mind to stay in that state. The problem becomes your identity. Instead of moving forward, you remain stuck in explaining what went wrong. Silence, in this case, is not suppression. Silence is processing. Some struggles are not meant to be narrated, they are meant to be faced. When you sit with your pain quietly, you start understanding it, you begin to see patterns, lessons, and directions. You become more self-aware. Pain, when met with awareness, transforms into wisdom. Another important reason to protect your struggles is energy. Words carry energy. Every time you repeat your problem, you relive it. The emotions return, the stress increases, and the wound opens again. Healing cannot happen when the wound is constantly touched. I have seen people talk about their struggles so much that they become emotionally exhausted without making any real progress. Talking feels like relief, but it is temporary. Action is what brings change. Reflection is what brings clarity. This does not mean you should suffer alone. It means you should choose carefully. Share your struggles only with those who have earned the right to hear them. A trusted friend, a mentor, a guide, or someone who has walked a similar path and emerged stronger. One sincere listener is far more powerful than 100 curious ears. There is also another side to this. When you openly share your struggles, people start forming perceptions about you. They label you as weak, confused, or always troubled. Even when you grow, those labels remain in their minds. But when you struggle silently and rise quietly, people see strength, not struggle. Life is already challenging. You don't need unnecessary opinions, advice, or judgments added to your burden. Everyone gives advice from their level of understanding, their experiences, and their fears. What didn't work for them may work for you, but their words can plant doubt in your heart, even when you were on the right path. Silence gives you space to build resilience. It teaches you emotional independence. You learn how to comfort yourself, motivate yourself, and guide yourself. And that skill becomes invaluable because in life, not everyone will be available when you need them. There is something very powerful about going through a storm quietly and emerging stronger without announcing what you endured. That kind of strength is calm, it is grounded, it does not seek validation. Remember this: not everyone deserves access to your inner world. Your struggles are sacred. They are shaping you, refining you, and preparing you for something greater. Protect that process. Speak less about your pain. Listen more to your inner voice. Work silently on healing, learning, and growing. And when you finally rise, let your peace speak for you. That is why your personal struggles are best kept private. Let me speak to you about something that quietly shapes our present more than we realize: our past pain. Every one of us carries memories that hurt, moments we wish had gone differently, chapters we would rather not relive. Pain is universal, but how we deal with it determines whether it becomes a prison or a teacher. Many people feel the urge to talk about their past pain again and again. They revisit old wounds in conversations, replay the same stories, explain the same disappointments. At first, it feels relieving. It feels like letting out something heavy. But slowly, without realizing it, the past starts occupying the present. The pain that should have been a lesson becomes an identity. Your past pain does not define who you are. It explains where you have been, not where you are going. When you constantly speak about what hurt you, you unknowingly give it power. Words give life to memories. The more you describe an experience, the more real it becomes in your mind. Emotions return, anger resurfaces, sadness deepens. Healing, however, requires distance. It requires perspective. And perspective comes from silence and reflection, not repetition. Another important truth is this: not everyone understands your past pain in the way you do. Some people listen but cannot relate. Some judge without knowing the full story. Some grow tired of hearing it repeatedly. And some may even use it against you in moments of conflict. When you expose your vulnerabilities to the wrong people, your past becomes a weapon in their hands. There is also a subtle danger in sharing past pain. It can trap you in victimhood. When your conversations revolve around what happened to you, life begins to revolve around it too. You start seeing yourself as someone who was wronged, betrayed, or hurt, rather than someone who survived, learned, and grew. Growth begins when the story changes from "this happened to me" to "this taught me something." Silence helps that transformation. Keeping your past pain private does not mean you are in denial. It means you are choosing to move forward without dragging unnecessary emotional weight. It means you respect your own healing process. Some wounds need time, not attention. Some scars fade faster when they are not constantly exposed. There is wisdom in letting the past stay in the past. When you stop talking about it, you give space to the present. You make room for new experiences, new relationships, and new perspectives. Life does not move backward, but your mind can, unless you consciously decide to release what no longer serves you. Forgiveness also becomes easier in silence. When you stop repeating the story of your pain, the emotional charge slowly reduces. You begin to see people and situations with more clarity. You understand that everyone acts from their own level of awareness. Forgiveness then becomes less about them and more about freeing yourself. This does not mean you should never speak about your past. Some conversations are necessary for closure, guidance, or healing. A trusted friend, a counselor, or a mentor can help you process emotions in a healthy way. But turning your pain into casual conversation or constant explanation keeps you stuck in the same emotional space. Your strength is not in how much pain you can describe, but in how gracefully you can rise beyond it. There is a quiet dignity in carrying your past with wisdom instead of bitterness. When you meet someone who has suffered deeply but speaks gently, you feel it. Their calm has depth, their silence has meaning. That kind of presence comes from someone who has made peace with their past instead of fighting it publicly. Let your past pain become a private chapter, not a public announcement. Let it educate you, not define you. Let it shape your character, not your conversations. Life is offering you a fresh moment every single day. Do not let yesterday's wounds steal today's peace. Heal quietly, learn deeply, and move forward lightly. That is why your past pain is best kept private. Not because it didn't matter, but because you matter more. Let me speak to you about something very sensitive, yet very practical: your financial situation. Money is a powerful energy in our lives. It influences choices, relationships, confidence, and even self-worth. And because of that, it is one of the most misunderstood and misused topics when shared openly. Many people feel the urge to talk about money. Some talk about how much they earn, some talk about how little they have, and some talk about how much they plan to make. But the moment you start discussing your financial situation openly, you invite comparison, and comparison is the thief of peace. When people know how much you earn or how much you have saved, their behavior toward you changes. Some begin to expect more from you, some judge your lifestyle, some feel inferior, while others feel superior. And suddenly money, which is meant to be a tool, turns into a source of tension in relationships. There is also the danger of unnecessary advice. Everyone becomes a financial expert when it comes to someone else's money. People will tell you where to invest, what to buy, what not to buy, how to live, and how to spend. Most of this advice is not rooted in understanding your goals, responsibilities, or values. It is rooted in their own experiences and fears. When you share your financial struggles, it can invite pity instead of respect. People may start looking at you through the lens of limitation. They may assume you are incapable, unstable, or unsuccessful, even when you are simply in a phase of building. Financial journeys have seasons. A low phase does not define a person's potential. On the other hand, when you share financial success, it invites envy. Some people may celebrate you genuinely, but many will compare silently. That comparison can lead to jealousy, resentment, or unrealistic expectations. You may find people asking for favors, loans, or support, putting you in uncomfortable positions. Saying no then becomes difficult, and relationships suffer. Silence protects balance. Money grows best when handled quietly. When you are not busy explaining your finances, you can focus on managing them wisely. You make decisions based on long-term stability rather than social pressure. You spend according to your values, not to impress others. There is also emotional peace in privacy. When your financial life is private, you are free from judgment. You don't feel the need to prove anything. You don't feel ashamed of temporary setbacks. And you don't feel proud in a way that creates ego. You remain grounded. Financial discipline requires focus. Oversharing distracts that focus. When others know your numbers, you start seeing yourself through their eyes. You might spend more to maintain an image, or you might restrict yourself unnecessarily out of fear of judgment. Either way, your financial decisions stop being authentic. Another important aspect is safety. Money information is personal. Sharing too much can make you vulnerable, not just emotionally, but practically. It can attract manipulation, exploitation, or dependence. Privacy is protection. True wealth is not loud. It does not announce itself. It moves quietly, patiently, and steadily. The people who build lasting financial security are often the ones who speak the least about it. They understand that money is a responsibility, not a performance. This does not mean you should never talk about money. Seek guidance from professionals, learn from mentors, have honest conversations with those who are directly involved in your financial life, such as family or partners. But beyond that, silence is wisdom. Your financial journey is personal. It reflects your priorities, your struggles, your discipline, and your growth. It does not need external validation. Let your lifestyle speak naturally, without explanation. Protect your peace by protecting your privacy. Use money as a tool to build freedom, not as a topic to build attention. Work quietly, plan carefully, and grow steadily. That is why your financial situation is best kept private, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. Let me talk to you about kindness, something the world desperately needs, yet often misunderstands. Acts of kindness are powerful, healing, and transformative. But there is a quiet truth about kindness that many people overlook. Its purest form exists in silence. When we do something good for someone, the heart feels light. There is joy, satisfaction, and a sense of meaning. That feeling is beautiful. But the moment we feel the need to announce our kindness, to tell others what we have done, something subtle changes. The act may still be good, but the intention slowly shifts from compassion to recognition. True kindness does not seek applause, it seeks impact. When acts of kindness are shared publicly, they often become performances. The focus moves from the person who needed help to the person who helped. And when kindness becomes about being seen, it loses its depth. What was meant to heal becomes a tool for validation. There is also another side to this. When you talk about your kindness, you unintentionally create expectations. People may start assuming that you will always help, always give, always be available. Your kindness then becomes an obligation rather than a choice. And when one day you cannot give, you may be judged as selfish or changed, even though you have already given so much. Silence protects the purity of giving. There is a unique peace in helping someone and letting the moment belong only to the two of you. No audience, no story, no explanation, just a genuine exchange of humanity. That kind of kindness stays in the heart longer. It strengthens character. It builds humility. Another reason to keep your kindness private is respect. Many people who receive help do not want their struggles announced. When acts of kindness are shared openly, even with good intentions, the dignity of the receiver can be compromised. True compassion protects dignity. It does not expose vulnerability. When kindness is done quietly, it creates a deeper spiritual connection. You are not doing it for praise, gratitude, or recognition. You are doing it because it aligns with your values. That alignment creates inner peace. You feel content without needing external approval. There is also growth in silent kindness. It teaches you to give without attachment. You stop expecting thank yous. You stop waiting for appreciation. You learn to give freely, and that freedom is powerful. It liberates you from ego. Some people worry that if they don't talk about their kindness, it will go unnoticed. But the truth is, the universe notices, life notices, and most importantly, your own conscience notices. That is enough. We live in a time where social media often turns kindness into content. Helping someone becomes a post. Charity becomes a video. While awareness is important, we must be honest with ourselves about intention. Are we helping to uplift someone or to uplift our image? Silent kindness leaves a lasting mark. Loud kindness leaves a temporary impression. There is a quiet strength in knowing you did something good and walking away without needing recognition. That strength builds character, it builds humility, it builds depth. Kindness done in silence also teaches gratitude. You become thankful for the ability to give. You realize that being in a position to help is itself a blessing, and that gratitude grounds you. This does not mean that kindness should never be discussed. Sometimes sharing can inspire others, guide others, or create awareness for a cause. But the heart must be examined. The intention must be clean. The focus must remain on service, not self. If you want to experience the true joy of giving, try this. Help someone, support someone, lift someone, and tell no one about it. Let it be your secret with life. You will notice something beautiful happen. Your heart will feel lighter, your ego will feel smaller, and your peace will feel deeper. That is the power of keeping your acts of kindness private, not because they are small, but because they are sacred.